What would you do if you could stop time with the press of a button? I mean, it sounds like the absolute ultimate superpower, doesn't it?
Just imagine waking up tomorrow with the ability to pause, rewind, and fast forward time itself. At first, the possibilities would seem completely endless. You could avoid mistakes, relive your favorite memories, and gain unlimited time to learn, work, or explore the world. Humanity could use this power to prevent disasters, stop wars before they even begin, and solve problems that once seemed impossible. But, as we're going to see today, the more time is manipulated, the more reality itself could begin to violently unravel.
Okay, here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with the illusion of time, move into bending the temporal flow, and then tackle the famous grandfather paradox. After that, we'll look at the universe correcting itself, the multiverse solution, and wrap up with the ethics of time. Before we continue, if you're enjoying these mind-bending future scenarios, make sure to like this explainer, share it with a friend, and subscribe to Last Human Era for more incredible journeys into the future.
Let's dive right into Section 1, the illusion of time and understanding our reality. To grasp how humanity could potentially use this power to alter reality, we first have to ask a really fundamental question. What actually is time?
Well, general relativity suggests this mind-bending concept known as the block universe. In this model, which is championed by the philosophy of eternalism, the past, present, and future don't actually happen sequentially. Instead, they all coexist simultaneously as this big, unchanging, four-dimensional block. So your birth, your current moment watching this explainer, and the eventual end of the universe are all equally real fixed points in this massive block of space-time. Crazy, right?
Now look at the stark contrast between these two models. On one hand, you have our everyday experience, presentism, which just feels like a flowing river of time driven by thermodynamics and entropy. The past is gone, the future is unwritten. But on the other hand, the physics of relativity points straight toward eternalism, implying the future is already there, just waiting for us to experience it. If time is a dimension, just like space, well, that changes literally everything.
Moving on to Section 2, bending the temporal flow and the physics of manipulation. Because if time truly is a physical dimension like up, down, left, and right, then theoretically we can build a machine to navigate and distort it.
Believe it or not, researchers are already theorizing devices like the Quantum Temporal Resonator, or QTR for short. This isn't magic, folks. It relies on proposed physics. By combining quantum entanglement to link information instantly and metamaterials that cause negative refraction of fields, physicists hypothesize we could generate what are called temporal harmonics. Basically, this creates a time bubble. Inside that bubble, we could modulate the progression of time, maybe even slowing it down enough to allow human beings to survive multi-generational interstellar travel within a single lifetime.
But how deep does this control really go? It all comes down to a staggering number: 10 to the power of negative 43 seconds. That is the Planck time, the absolute smallest, most fundamental mathematical unit of the timeline. By manipulating this tiny foundational pixel of reality, we might gain ultimate control over the timeline. But there is a massive catch here. Physics suggests that the more time is manipulated at this quantum level, the more the very fabric of reality could begin to violently unravel.
Which brings us to Section 3, the grandfather paradox and the problem of causality. This is the most famous thought experiment in temporal mechanics. And, assuming you don't have a personal vendetta against your ancestors, it's the ultimate roadblock to backwards time travel.
Let's walk through this logical nightmare together. Step 1. You travel back to the past. Step 2. You intentionally or maybe accidentally remove your grandfather from existence before your parent is even conceived. Step 3. Because of that, you were never born. But step 4 is the kicker. If you were never born, how did you go back in time in the first place? It's a total paradox. The crucial takeaway is that as people start changing the past, entire timelines could completely disappear, memories might conflict with reality, and cause and effect could lose all absolute meaning.
So, moving to Section 4, the universe corrects itself. How does reality actually survive a paradox like that? Well, theoretical physics offers two completely distinct solutions. Let's look at the first one, which basically argues that the universe simply refuses to let you change history.
This is known as the Novikov self-consistency principle, coined by Russian physicist Igor Novikov. It asserts that if you travel on a closed loop through time, the events are mathematically guaranteed to be self-consistent. If you try to cause a paradox, the probability of you succeeding is strictly zero. The gun jams, you trip, you get distracted by a bird, meaning some individuals may become trapped in endless loops. inadvertently causing the very events they traveled back in time trying to prevent in the first place.
The implication here is just staggering, and it's perfectly captured by astrophysicist J. Craig Wheeler. He asks, why is this consistency restriction placed on a time traveler any different from, say, gravity preventing you from walking straight through a brick wall? This means that your free will is, in many ways, an absolute illusion when time traveling. You are bound by the physical laws of the universe to maintain a consistent history, completely powerless to alter the timeline you came from.
But what if you do have free will? Let's move on to Section 5, the multiverse solution and branching realities. What if the universe doesn't restrict your choices at all, but instead reality just splits?
Under the multiverse, or many worlds theory, we get what's called Type 1 time travel. Altering the timeline doesn't overwrite your past, it creates a brand new branching universe, a World B. So you can actually remove your grandfather in World B, but the grandfather in your original World A survives just fine. But think about the consequences. While some might rewrite history to gain power and wealth, governments would desperately try to control this technology. What happens when multiple people start altering the exact same timeline? The world could become a chaotic battlefield of competing realities, branching infinitely, where no one even remembers what truly happened in the original universe.
This leads us right into Section 6, the ethics of time. Because assuming we somehow survive the physical paradoxes of either model, we run headfirst into a really dense moral minefield. Time travel doesn't just break physics, it completely breaks our framework of human ethics. A brilliant example of this is the loud arrival scenario, introduced by philosopher Sarah Bernstein. Imagine a time traveler arrives in the past with a really loud bang from their machine. Someone nearby looks over at the noise, and they're distracted for just one single second. Because of that tiny 1-second delay, they miss meeting their future spouse at a coffee shop. And just like that, inadvertently, the time traveler has completely erased a future person from existence. The ethical implications of just existing in the past are absolutely terrifying.
Suddenly, humanity would face this rampant, profligate moral obligation. I mean, if you possess a device that can easily take you back to prevent a fatal accident at very little cost to yourself, are you ethically required to do so? And if you do, are you now responsible for the billions of lives altered downstream? This overriding moral obligation would extend to the entire past. It becomes an impossible burden of righting historical wrongs, knowing full well that saving millions might erase the exact timelines of billions of others.
We'd even face the ultimate philosophical problem of auto-erasure and consent. Imagine a future version of you travels back in time to forcefully stop you from making a terrible life choice, or maybe even to erase your present life entirely to prevent some future catastrophe. Does the hindsight knowledge of your future self automatically trump the basic human autonomy of your present self? Really, who holds the ultimate right to your timeline?
In the end, controlling time may seem like the greatest gift ever imagined, but it could also become the most dangerous power in existence, threatening the very fabric of reality. It forces us to confront not just the strict limits of quantum physics, but the limits of our own wisdom as a species.
So I want to leave you with this. If you had the ability to change one moment from your past, would you do it, knowing it could completely change your future? Let me know in the comments. And if these future possibilities fascinate you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe because every week we explore the most incredible futures